Welcome everybody. So today, welcome Rob, hello. Wait a few more minutes for other people to join the live. Today I'm going to be talking about the property market. I'm going to be using CoreLogic data to talk about is now the right time to be buying property. And if not now, when should be buying real estate as an investment, as your own home. Hey Sean, hey Catalina, welcome to all of you. So I'm going to be pointing to some CoreLogic data as well as just talking about the broader economic circumstances and chat about where I think the market's going to go and give you some insight as to when is a good time to be investing in real estate. Now, just starting at the top level, talking about the macroeconomics, what's happening on the global stage. The US inflation numbers are really high. The world economy is still a bit in flux. There's still quite a little bit of confusion out there. However, in relation to the world economy, the Australian economy is still showing to be quite robust. We have just had a recent rise in our interest rates, but it does look like there is a bit of confidence coming from the RBA. They are saying that, the worst of our inflation numbers are kind of where they are now. They anticipate the inflation numbers are going to start slowing down over the next 12 months. And the banks are starting to price that the 5-year fixed rates are actually starting to come down. So from a larger perspective, the Australian economy is starting to look pretty healthy. Our jobs numbers are very, very good. Now, when we're looking at the property market, we have just seen the sharpest drop in the last 3 months since the end of August by about 3.4% in that quarter. So over the past 3 months, the property market has dropped on average about 3.4%, and that is the biggest decline since the 1980s. Now, that's across the whole of the market. Sydney has led the way with the biggest decline of 5.9%, and Melbourne has just behind that at 3.8%. So Sydney, Melbourne have been impacted the most over the last 3 months. But I do believe the other markets are starting to show signs of weakness and are going to continue dropping. The part of the market that's been most impacted is the top part of the market. So they break the market up as the lower 25%, the middle 50%, and then the top 75%. So the more expensive part of the market, the more expensive premium properties have been impacted the most, and they're dropping the fastest and the hardest. This makes sense to me just because it's pegged to a lot of the market is hedged to or is pinned to in interest rates. And as interest rates continue to increase, we're going to see more and more stress on people's mortgages. And the top part of the market, the most frothy part of the market, where people have just had bonuses, it's been cheap credit, have been throwing their properties up there and hoping to get crazy numbers. They have. All of those people that are just selling for the sake of selling and getting a crazy number have now stepped back out. And what we're starting to see is vendors are starting to discount their properties by 3, 4, 5%. The reason is that these people that are now selling the properties are genuine sellers. They're not just selling to get a premium. They're selling because they need to sell. There's been a death, divorce, they're upgrading, downgrading. They're selling for a reason, and they're showing interest in selling their properties. So what we're seeing in the property market is vendors are discounting. The top part of the market has been hit the most. Sydney's leading the way. The other parts of Australia are starting to discount as well. But what I'm finding to be very interesting is that we're about to come into the spring selling season. And what that basically means is that there's going to be a lot of stock coming into the market. Historically, around this time of year, we sell about 25,000 properties around this time. But coming into spring, that number is going to increase by about 10,000 properties. So we've got 10,000 more properties coming into the spring selling season, and there are less and less purchases in the market. So we're starting to see a decrease in the amount of people that are getting approvals for their home, and a decrease in the amount of sales and the amount of people that are out there looking for property. So with the sharpest decline in the last quarter, there's an increase in the amount of people that are selling their property and a decrease in the amount of people buying. I anticipate that over the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to see the property market continue to decline. Now, I'm not really too concerned by that. I don't think we're going to get to the point where we'll see negative equity. Negative equity being that, from the peak of the property market, the market ran since 2020 almost 30%, some markets 40, but about 30% on average. And I don't anticipate the property market dropping by 20 or 30%. If we see it decrease by maybe 15%, that would be a big number as an average. I just don't see it dropping that much. Now, something that is also pretty interesting is that we've got record low levels of approvals currently. So what we can pay attention to is the amount of properties that get their development applications approved to then start construction. And what we're seeing for the month of July, that the amount of approvals has dropped by 17%. And this has been this has happened largely because of apartments. There's been a 45% decline in the amount of approvals in apartment stock, which I find is very, very interesting. So we've got record levels of apartments not being approved, not coming into the market. So there's very, very low levels of stock. And we've got the property market's come off a really all-time high. Now, something else that's really interesting is that at the moment, we're seeing the people are stopping buying properties. And what that's doing is putting more pressure on the rental system. So since August 2020 to now, we've seen rents increase on average by 10%. Now, some parts of the market have grown faster than others. Brisbane rents have grown by 13.3%. And in Adelaide, 12%, Sydney about 10%. But the national average has seen that rents have increased by about 10%. Now, coming back to the original question, which is, when is a good time to be buying property? I'll answer this in a few ways. Now, being a property person, you'd expect me to say now, and basically I do believe that now is actually a good time. I think that the best window for buying property is between now and I would say the end of next year. And the reason why I say that is because we've got record level, we've got a lot of uncertainty in the market. We've still got a lot of fear. We're seeing the property market drop. We're seeing the sharpest decline since the 80s. And we're seeing that there are record levels or low levels of approvals in the market. Now, the reason why I'm saying now-ish is a good time to buy is because we're about to see a huge amount of stock come onto the market. So when you've got high levels of inventory in the market, you've got low development applications coming in, and you've got all of the fearful buyers leaving the market. As a buyer, the power is with us. So through the months of October, November, December, we've got to have a lot of supply. November's going to be peak supply. That's a really good time to be buying. But also, coming into the next year, although the supply levels come off, there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of uncertainty. So I think the next 12 months represents a really good opportunity for buying. But the other reason why I think that now is a good time to be picking up stock is because rents are increasing. You're going to buy a property, get record levels of rent. And the other thing is we're about to see the Australian, the country open up. The Labor government has shown us that they want to allow more migrants to come into the country. They're making student visas easier to get into. They're incentivizing people to come over. They're increasing the amount of time that postgraduates can spend in Australia. They're spending, I think it's like $8 million, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it's like $90 million or something, some crazy number to go into the backlog of current migrants and turn them into permanent residents. 900,000 people in our migrants that are in our backlog that they want to get into the country. Now, as all these people come into the country and get their permanent residency, they're going to be looking to one, rent, but then also purchase. So I think that now is a really good time to be taking this next step very seriously, looking at the property market as a good opportunity. And yeah, I'll be using this next 12 months very, very seriously. I think the next 3 months is going to be very, very interesting, and certainly the next 12. So that is my thoughts on the property market for the next 12 months and when you should be looking at purchasing. If any of you have got questions, let me know. I'll sit here and read some of your comments and answer your questions. Now we've got some gibberish in the comments here. Some people believe that the best time to be purchasing is in the next 6 years. I think that that's nonsense. In the next 6 years from now, the property prices are going to be, I think we're going to be moving to our next boom cycle in the next 6 years. But that's a story for another day. No questions. Today is a cracking day. So get out there, get some sun, have an awesome Friday and a really good weekend. Otherwise, I'll see you next Friday, and happy investing, everybody.